And every time I hear Dr. Nerenberg, I see a rabbi, I see a learned man, I see a priest, I see an imam, I see a holy man who is allowing himself to have the light of heaven go through this prism to allow you to see elements of God, because he's speaking God's truth. It may not excite you. It's not supposed to excite you. It's supposed to quietly light a fire within each one of you so that you can examine your own lives in a quiet way away from others and say, how can I have a better life?
Thank you very much for that warm welcome. It's a privilege, a pleasure, an honor to be in your presence. I'm grateful for this opportunity to reach deep within myself and share with you lessons, experiences, and insights, inspirations of a lifetime. The title of today's lecture is The Living Legacy Memorial. The Living Legacy Memorial. And the object, the intention of the Living Legacy Memorial is to uplift and inspire your loved ones and society for at least 1,000 years. To uplift and inspire your loved ones and society for at least 1,000 years. So basically what we're doing is talking about, well, how can I do that? How can I have that impact to uplift my family, my children, my grandchildren, aunts and uncles, so forth? How do I do that? And we're going to talk about ways that that's going to happen in terms of specific areas of doing this. One aspect, and I'm going to give you an example, I'm going to use myself as an example for how to uplift and inspire your loved ones and society for at least 1,000 years. I'm going to read to you to begin with something that I wrote to be either played as a video or read at my own funeral, which God willing won't be for many years. But the whole idea of the Living Legacy Memorial is to either have people who already passed away and do a memorial about them, advice and lessons you've learned from them. But the Living Legacy Memorial is where we're recording ourselves, our parents, our grandparents, and loved ones now, because that's going to be their memorial to inspire and uplift for generations to come. And we give you a format for that. But I'm going to start giving you an example of my own message to be played at my funeral. So it's to be read at my funeral, played on the DVD which I prepared. I am the one being buried, but my funeral is for you. I am the catalyst for you to gather in the name of my death. In memory of me, be your true selves. Talk deeply from your hearts. Too soon you will bury one another. For whom do you mourn? Show your love now. I know that upon my physical demise, you feel the reality of my smile more powerfully than while I walked among you. I have disappeared from your sight, but I am more in your thoughts than ever before. The beauty of my life is inscribed on the tablet of your being. The reality of the love and the bond between us is far greater than you realized before. You have taken me deeply into your hearts as I have taken you into my heart. Only now can you know who I really am. This tells what my life is. This is what I've said to those who will be gathered at my funeral. As each of you leaves, and God willing, be for over 100 years from now, and as your loved ones have left, I know something about every one of you who has lost a loved one. I know this. I know that the reality of your loved one is more alive in your heart now than when they were here. I know that the impact of your loved ones is greater now than when they lived. I know that. It's a fact. So that's how I know that's going to be the case for me, because I'm no different than you. You're no different than me. I'm going to have my greatest impact on you, my loved ones, after I leave. That's a fact. So this is why we have the Living Legacy Memorial, because your power to influence and uplift and do good for those you love and for society reaches its full power and maturation on your demise, not during your life, no, not while you lived. It's when you pass. So we can't live in denial of our time to leave, which will come. We embrace it because we want to do the good that you will do in your living memorial, your living legacy memorial. The good that you're going to do is yet to come. It's when you leave. So what do I say here? My funeral's not for me. It's for you. I'm gone. You're here. So what am I saying to people? I'm saying, well, be your true selves. Don't feel you got to phony this up at my funeral. Don't feel you got to mourn or cry. If you want to cry, fine. You want to laugh, laugh. So I'm giving people permission, saying, I'm giving you permission. I did it during my life, but now on my death, I'm giving you permission at my funeral to be yourselves. And I've always talked about talking deeply from your hearts in terms of being genuine, authentic. So I'm saying it at my funeral. Be yourself. Genuine. Be you. It's great as long as you're doing it in a respectfully real manner. That is with kindness, wisdom, respect the boundaries in a moral way. To be yourself. Do that. So I've been talking about that for many years. But I know it's going to be most deeply heard at my funeral message and what I leave behind saying that. So I'm saying, listen, I've left. Your time is coming. You're going to be burying one another. Those present are hearing, hey, I've gone. Your time's coming. You don't have that much time. If you need to tell somebody you're sorry or I love you, do it now. You know what? People will listen to a dead man more than they will a living man. They'll listen to me as a dead man more than they will a living man. Then when I live, people listen. They can listen more when I'm dead. So that's your gift, the living legacy memorial. You're a real gift. Whatever gift you gave money, you gave love, you gave guidance. You built buildings or whatever you did. You were a janitor, you took care of people's properties. It's all good. You gave a lot. But I don't want you to miss the opportunity to give your greatest gift. Your living legacy memorial. That's your greatest gift. Write it down, record it on CD or DVD. Don't miss that opportunity. You're going to pass on your houses, your wealth, your cars. That's good. Oh, they'll give it away, sell it. That's gone. What you want to pass on is your wisdom, your living legacy memorial. And we'll be talking about the living legacy. So I'm going to talk about guidance in different areas. So in this living legacy, so I'm going to give you some guidelines about your living legacy because you haven't thought about it as deeply as I have. So I'm going to give you some guidance. This is an instrument to preserve the thoughts you wish to share with your loved ones, an outline which can later be further developed. Feel free to share your real struggles, to be humorous when you wish, and to give your child freedom to be himself or herself without adding a burden to his or her life. So you're doing this for your children. You'll be doing it for your grandchildren. You're doing it for your friends. If you're in doubt whether to include a particular statement, leave it out. This document has a number of practical uses. It'll help focus your thoughts concerning your loved ones. Oh yeah, when you write this, you really think about what matters. It provides a basis for dialogue. So once you write it or record it, you have something to really talk about. You want to have a deep conversation with your loved ones? This is it. This is it. You're not going to be here forever. Your children don't realize, hey, I'm not going to be here forever. Let's have this talk. It's not you don't want to make it a sad, morbid thing. No, it's going to happen. I'm going to be here a long time. I'm going to do everything I can to stay alive. But the time will come, I'm going, and you're going too. So now let's use this as a way of giving our greatest gift to one another and to the world. It can inspire a precedent in the family for others to provide this type of document. So you're doing something. No one in the family's done it before, this living legacy memorial, and you're passing that on for them to do it. Isn't this a great thing to do for your children or for your loved ones? It can be read with your will to help give direction and comfort. One of the main goals is to assist in the emergence of a sense of human dignity and honor. See, you might have felt it wasn't appropriate when you were alive, just normal conversation to go deep. And I said, why are you talking about this? But you know what? As a dead man, as a dead woman, you have total freedom to really say what you always wanted to say. You want to do it in a constructive way. A dead man, you as a dead man, me as a dead man, you as a dead woman, or you have the right in death of freedom that you never had in your life, that you never felt. You're finally going to say it, but you want to keep it constructive. Your greatest freedom of expression is you as a dead human being, as it is for me. You're saying it. You want to keep it constructive. You want to add to honor and dignity of those listening. You don't want to then get something off your chest and say something nasty. We're not talking about that. It will help your loved ones in understanding more of their heritage and identities, as well as in developing a good self-concept and expanded perspective. Your writing this document will be highly thought-provoking for you and for your loved ones, and will also tap into deep emotions. It is an act of love. To understand the value of this endeavor, just reflect for a moment on what it would mean to you to receive such a document from one or both of your parents, or your grandparents, or your uncles. Imagine if you had received this document, passing on advice about all areas of life. Wow, what a thing you would have had. And then you could pass it down as a family heirloom. The categories are helpful to many people. However, you could just disregard or add new ones if you wish. Upon completion of this document, you may feel that it does not totally express what you wish and feel that it is only a rough draft. But in a sense, all of life is a rough draft. So don't let this feeling stop you from making productive use of what you think at this time. So these are some guidelines for your living legacy, the Living Legacy Memorial. And what I intend to do is let people not only write this, but some people will want me to interview them or produce a DVD, a CD, whatever. So we're going to go through a number of these areas. I'm giving you the guidance of how to structure what you want to say. I want to share with you some important memories about your childhood. So what about now for your children? It could be about your grandchildren or younger or nieces and nephews or whomever. You can include events and or positive qualities and show your loved ones that they have a good background to succeed in many aspects of life. I want you to know some of the important teachers that I've had in life. In other words, something else to pass on. You can include people from whom you learn important lessons concerning such topics as love, faith, business, etc. You may wish to advise your loved ones to turn to these various teachers. And I leave space for those who want to write it down. By the way, most people, this is a great idea, Dr. Nerenberg, but they never do it. They never sit and write it. That's why part of the Living Legacy Memorial is what we want to do is ultimately have a digital memorial wall where people then have this all on video or audio as well as in writing. Will be on their way for eternity. That'll be accessible. Press a button, and there they are on a memorial wall. So you get to see whomever you wish to see. You want to see what this person said, or your great-grandfather, your great-great-grandfather. It'll all be there because, you know what? I know something about all of you. None of you know the names of your great-great-grandfathers. You don't even know his name on either side. Not talking about grandfather, great-grandfather. You don't even know the names of your great-great-grandfathers. What? Guess what? They're not going to know your name a couple of generations now. Won't even know your name. I am but a whisper in the wind at night. I am already forgotten. It's a poem, a little poem I wrote to capture this. But now, it's not just for ego to be remembered. That's minor. You want to have that upliftment for your loved ones and for society. And so now as it was recorded on the Living Legacy Memorial, you're doing that. Oh, strong, beautiful. It gives meaning for the brief life that we had. And by brief life, I mean if you live 120 years, it's like that. I'm 74. I'm going to be honest with you. Yesterday, and this is true, it'll sound like a joke, yesterday I was 28. And that's how it's going to be. It's just in the context of eternity. I'm now in the eternity business through the Living Legacy Memorial. Some of my favorite books, stories, works of art, and other interests include, for example, you might want to list quotes from scripture, favorite artists, hobbies, etc. So you're not taking it to a depth so they know something about you, but it keeps expanding. That's something that's going to help in a more general way. I want you to know something about your family background or family tree. Some examples would include types of trades and professions, philosophical and religious attitudes, family size, etc. We all know the name, say, George Washington in America. But nobody knows who he was anyway, just know the name. Thomas Jefferson, just names. So even if you knew the name of your great-great-grandfather, how big a deal is that? But knowing the identity, what his struggles were. You cannot know anybody if you don't know his struggles. Impossible. You have to know a man's struggles. You have to know her struggles. Otherwise, you don't know them. It's impossible. It's impossible. You cannot know somebody. So you're sharing the struggle. But you're sharing it in a constructive way, and I'm going to talk about how to do that. You have to know the struggle, and you're sharing that in these documents. This is what I struggled with, and this is how I overcame it. This is how I moved forward. So so to be known, you want to not only know your name, your great-great-grandchildren know your name, but also know who you were. So there's something personal about it, but also it's not just so you're known, it's so that they will then become filled with more honor within their lives and more productivity. I want to share with you some information about your medical history and salient medical factors in our family. Well, your great-great-grandfather died. Your great-great-grandfather died of heart attacks. With heart attacks, you better go on a vegan diet or something. Better not eat these particular foods because we have this history. So this is just again practical information. I also want to include areas in which I hope that you will be like me. For example, you might want them to have your sense of humor, your loyalty, your generosity. So you're saying, these are areas I hope you'll be like me. These are some of my good characteristics. So you're saying these are things that are part of your heritage. Your power to give love. We come from a very loving family. Or we come from a very spiritual family. This is part of your heritage. So you pass. But I also want to share with you areas in which I hope you will not be like me. You don't want to be like me in this area because that wasn't good. For example, you may feel you lack self-discipline and were too vulnerable in certain areas. So I want you to be like me in this way. I want to share with you feelings of love I have for certain people. For example, you might want to share your feelings about your own parents, friends, siblings. This is what matters, talking about your love, who you loved, and the depth of that love. I want you to know how I love you. You can describe your feelings and how you have shown your love. You may never even have told whoever you were talking to, your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, your friends, whomever. This is how I loved you. This is how I showed my love. I tried to show it, but you know what? They'll hear you more when you're gone. Whatever you've said will be heard more deeply when you've left. I know you know what I'm talking about. I know that. And so I want you to be able to use this to your advantage and to the advantage of your families and the advantage of society. I want you to be able to use this for good for yourself. Various items I've willed or left to you have special meaning. You might want to talk about certain items such as a ring, a book, etc. I read this book, I read the Bible, I read the Quran, I read the Bhagavad Gita, Tabiaktas, whatever book or novel this I read had special meaning to me. I want to share with you important lessons I've learned in life. Now you get a chance to pass on your wisdom. You may want to tell of mistakes, successes, indecisions, etc. This is what I learned about love. This is what I learned about wisdom. This is what I learned about people. And you may never even have told it. But you know what? When you're doing this for people who are alive, the living legacy, you start getting more insight into yourself and life. Now, when we're doing it for those who passed away already, we put together a statement about what their attitudes were. But when you're doing this, you yourself will grow when you're making your living legacy to go on the Living Legacy Memorial Wall, which is digital. It's going to focus your own thinking. Let's clear up any unfinished business between us. For example, I'd like to ask your forgiveness for this, or I forgive you for that. Most people die without having apologized for something, or giving forgiveness for something. You know, I did this. I'm sorry. I never told you. I wanted to tell you. I just didn't. There's advice I want to share with you about various areas of your life, such as money, friendship, trust, happiness, health, hurt feelings, etc. This advice, let me tell you something about you. If they hear that advice from somebody else, from me or on TV, it has meaning, or they're clergymen. But when you say it, it has more impact than anybody, especially if it's your children, your grandchildren, loved ones. When you say it, you reach deep in, and then you no longer hear deep in. You're going to reach deep because it's from you to somebody that you've loved deeply and who loves you. So your words are powerful. What I especially appreciate about you are the following. So you're saying, you may not even told me, I appreciate that you were such a good listener. I appreciate that the kind of love you have for me. I appreciate the kind of respect that you show your elders. Whatever it is. You may have said it before, but you may never have said it. You know, once you produce this, you're probably going to say it while you're alive. You are going to do it while you're alive. But then it's also recorded in the Living Legacy Memorial. This isn't just going to happen when you pass. You're going to be sharing this while you're alive. But then it goes on after you. So it has power when you say it now to your loved ones, and then after you leave, it has more power, double power. You know, you're probably like me. I quote my father all the time. My dad used to say this. My dad used to say that. I'm sure you say, you know, Grandpa used to say this. Mom used to say that. You got to be doing it. I know that. So imagine if you had a lot of that. Dad used to say, Mom used to say. You know what those mom used to say is how valuable Mom used to say? You know, Dad used to say, those Dad used to say statements, talking power now. It's not like somebody else said it. It's not like that clergyman said it. You remember what Dad used to say? That's like, what? That's like deep. Dad used to say it. I'd like to share with you what I believe our relationship will be when I pass on. For example, I may appear in your dreams. We can still assist each other. I will live in your memory, etc. So now I've gone. What's our relationship? Well, I'm going to come see you. I'm going to come see you in your dreams. Don't think it's just a dream. I'm there. Or, you know, you can pray for me on the other side. It's going to help me, and I'm going to do everything I can for you on the other side. Here are thoughts I'd like to share with you about striving towards ideals and accepting your limitations. For example, strive for patience. Strive to be a good spouse. Some of my struggles for what I strive to be were. Be aware of your weaknesses. So you're going to talk about ideals to strive for. This is giving you specific ideas of what to share with your loved ones while you're alive. And then when you pass, the power goes through the roof. Attitudes, feelings, and behaviors that you prefer your loved ones have concerning your death. For example, I accept death as part of life. Pray for me, etc. So you're saying, well, look, I'm preparing this for you because I love you. And I know that now that I've left, this is going to affect you even more than when I lived. I always told you such and such. But I know such and such now means more to you because I'm not here. I know you're going to treasure my words that I'm not here. Oh, you're going to treasure it. You're going to wish I was there to tell it to you again. Well, you've got this Living Legacy Memorial where I am saying it to you. Anytime you want to hear me say it again, just turn it on. You've got your own Living Legacy Memorial. Just press the button and I'll say it to you again. Oh, it's beautiful. I want to share with you how my spiritual journey evolved. For example, share in a personal way your struggles, failures, successes in your relationship to God, to prayer, to meditation, to nature, etc. So you got to share those struggles. Again, the worst thing you can do for your children, your grandchildren, is not to share your struggle, because you know what happens? They run into life. They say, oh my God, no one ever told me it gets this hard. You know what a shock it is for you that it was for you when you started finding out how hard life is? I know it was a shock for you, and I know nobody prepared you for it. Nobody told you the betrayals and the setbacks and the losses. Nobody told you what a disservice that was to all of us, that nobody, and I know this about all of you, nobody told you how tough this life gets to be. I know that about you. It wasn't right. It shouldn't have been masked from you. They should have been told how tough it gets and that you can handle it and you can rise above it. You should have been told that. I'm telling you, and you have a chance to tell it to your loved ones. And you know what else no one ever told you? The other side of that. Nobody ever told you how beautiful this life is. They never told you. It's exquisite. The beauty of this life. The moments of exquisiteness. Nobody told you. It's as shocking as the pain. What? This really exists? I thought it was only in Disneyland that people were happy. It really exists. Wow. You get a chance to then share that. Pass it on now. Living Legacy Memorial. My physical death may have the following consequences. For example, you may miss me very much. You may feel I'm at peace now. So, yeah, you're going to say, you're going to miss me. You're going to miss me a lot. Sometimes you're going to crave me. You're going to just wish you could see me one more time. And when you see me in your dreams, you're going to be so upset when you wake up and I'm not there. You're going to be so upset when you wake up and I'm not there and it was a dream. So when you're telling this living legacy now, you're setting the stage for them to have the gratitude you hear now. You're at least giving them a glimpse. Then when you leave, it's even more powerful. You enrich my life in many ways. For example, your special place in my life is this. What I've learned from you includes. So you're talking about how these others have enriched your life. And a lot of that's going to be a surprise. You know, I'm going to tell you something. The people you love, none of them fully understand how important they are to you. I'll tell you right now. Your loved ones, your spouse, your children, your grandchildren, your parents, none of them really grasp how important they are to you. You can try to show it now as you perform, as you create this Living Legacy Memorial, you'll get to express it. Even then, they only get a glimpse. They don't know how desperately you need them. And if they pass away before you, how big that loss is going to be to you. The way to understand the importance of that person is imagine if they're not here. And that's how you know. You say, gosh, if you weren't here, what a loss that would be to me. That's how you know, and you share that. You want that person to know how important they are to you. And that's part of your Living Legacy Memorial. These are thoughts I want to share with you on how I would like you to treat those that are still in this life with you. For example, something you wanted to do for your children, your mother, your sister, special friend, etc. You know, if you say, look after this person always. I know they're obnoxious, but I want you to always look after them. You know what? They'll probably do it. Dad's dying wish, or Grandpa's dying wish, Grandma's dying wish was that I always look after this person. Can't stand them, but Grandpa wanted it, Grandma wanted it. You're going to take care of that person. Because, you know, they may not have done it while you're alive, but that was your dying wish. You know how powerful your dying wish is? Oh, people will do for your dying wish what they never would have done for your living wish. When you were alive, they say, oh, come on, I'm too busy. Your dying wish? Try to grasp the power of your dying wish. Because it's not for you. You're dead. It's not going to do you any good. You're doing this because you want that person looked after. Now your wish matters. If they go against that, they can't even go against it. It's almost incomprehensible for a normal person to go against it. I'm showing you the power of your death, of my death. Here are some of the events and characteristics I want you to remember about me while I'm still on this earth and afterwards. It's the kind of man I am. It's the kind of woman I am. These are my characteristics. I'm an honorable person. I'm a loyal person. Part of your heritage is that we're loyal. From our family, we've always shown loyalty. We keep our word, always. Whatever it is that you're proud of. Because, like I say, the house you leave them, they'll sell it. The money, they'll spend it. The car, eventually get old. But this, when you start sharing them what honor is, what respect, what loyalty is, what it is to serve your highest values, what it is to share your deepest thoughts, what it is to serve the community, to serve God, to serve your loved ones. These are the characteristics. These are things I want you to remember about me. I've seen some pretty funny things in my life. I think you might enjoy my telling them to you. You got to have some funny stories. It's got to be. When you were a kid, you did this. Remember we did that. It's a little lighter note. And you know what? That lighter note will be more appreciated. So these are some guidelines. There's more that could be added to this. In fact, if I rewrite it, I'm sure I'm going to add more to it. I'd probably add this what it means to be a disciple of honor. I talk a little bit what a disciple of honor is, the 4 commandments of honor. I would add that to it. So when I rewrite this, the next edition will have disciples of honor and the 4 commandments. So I've shared with you what the Living Memorial is, the Living Legacy Memorial. And as I've looked in your eyes I gave this, you know what I saw? I saw each one of you was so with me. Each one of you saw the reality. I just saw each of you at the edge of your chair. I saw each of your hearts responding. Every one of you, because you identified with it. You recognized the truth. I felt we were one. As I was giving this, there was no separation between us because you were 100% on board. Whatever else you have going in your life, you weren't even thinking about it. You may be troubled by finances, emotional things, but when I was telling you this, you didn't have any thought other than what I was saying to you. None. That's how powerful your deaths are, my death is, what we can do with it. You didn't think about anything other than what I was saying. I saw it in your faces. I felt it in your hearts. That's power. The power of your death. That's what that is. I couldn't have held your attention like that. No, your death holds that power, not me. I just put your deaths into perspective of what you're going to do, your living legacy memorial. That's all I did. First, I had to do mine. I had to say, okay, I read you my final statement, but also I'll have a living legacy memorial where I have something to say about different things that we passed on. Now, what we're going to do, and again, I want to bring this into the world where people have their living legacy memorials. This is going to be great. People all have a will, or they buy life insurance. When I'm gone, you're going to have this money. And that's good. And it's a thriving business. Life insurance is big, big business. So people sit down, face things and be going, what kind of money do you want to leave for your kids, your grandkids, whatever? And they may use that money for good ends, or that might just spoil the heck out of them. You don't even know what that's good for them. Now we're talking about a living legacy memorial. You know what's good for them. Now you're talking about giving them a real legacy, a real inheritance that can't be misused because you're giving them how to become greater people of honor, to become men of honor, women of honor with wisdom. You're giving that. The money you're leaving them is important. And you're paying a lot of money for those life insurances. Now you add to that Living Legacy Memorial. And it's going to help them while they're alive. They don't have to wait till you're dead to get the benefit. No, they're going to get the benefit while you're alive. Isn't that a great policy? A life insurance policy that pays off while you're alive. Now we're talking good deal. It's just $1 million for this program. That's all. $10 million. What wouldn't you pay for it? If you take life seriously, what wouldn't you pay for the Living Legacy Memorial? You might be paying over a lifetime $100,000, $200,000, whatever, for that financial one, and it doesn't compare in value to this. Now I want to give you time for reflection. I'm going to ask you, you have the microphone. I'm going to start off. So tell me your thoughts when we're talking about the Living Legacy Memorial. What was the meaning to you and your reaction?
Is this on?
Yeah, it's on.
Hi, I'm Angela Rickman. As a person that does genealogy for a living, I'm 100% on board with you. That's one of the true joys of doing research and ancestry research is finding out the stories and what my great-grandfather and my elders stood for. And with that, I honor them on a daily basis.
And look how much you'll be able to honor each other when there's a more full disclosure and advice about life. Let's go this way. What are your thoughts about the Living Legacy Memorial?
I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's really futuristic sounding. I mean, the way you describe it, especially the wall, I see instead of like mausoleums, little monitors with buttons, so you can go to your specific ancestor and push the button, and they, excuse me, and they'll be able to actually give you real-time advice. I mean, not like conversation-wise, but you may have a question like, what did Grandpa Joe think of this particular business or this venture, and you can push the button and go to business ventures, and Grandpa Joe will tell you, hey, this is what I thought about this business venture.
There you go. And it means more because it's your relative, it's your own blood. Let's go this way. What is your reaction to the Living Legacy Memorial?
Well, I really like the way you laid it out, and I'm like you said earlier, I'm writing memoirs right now, and I've been keeping journals for the past 15 years or so. I have a ton of them, and I used to belong to this group that was kind of like this. It was a songwriting group, but it had the same sort of honesty that you have of delving into yourself and finding
So it'll
that.
be a great legacy for your loved ones to have this. You might want-
Absolutely. So I'm going through these journals, and I'm putting together kind of a memorial from them, and
So to uplift and inspire.
yeah,
For at least
basically.
1,000 years. That's
That's
the
basically it.
intention.
And
Let's go. Excuse me. Thank you. What was your reaction to Living Legacy Memorial?
I honestly think it's very awesome. My aunt just recently passed away, so it hit close to my heart. All I have is her telling me or, giving me advice. And now I just say, like you said, well, my aunt used to say this, my aunt used to say that. So that was very
Her
powerful.
words have come more alive now that she's not here.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. What was your reaction to Living Legacy Memorial?
I like it. I do agree that most people don't share their experiences with their loved ones, with their children. I personally feel like my parents don't even really know who I am. It's so sad, but it's true. So it would be good to.
So you making this, they can see it if they want to, or other loved ones could look and know
and
more
really
deeply.
get to know me.
Yeah, and get to know you.
And, yeah.
Good. What is your reaction to Living Legacy Memorial?
I think it's such a great idea. Like, I was only 25 when my mother passed away unexpectedly. And if, I had this video to go back and watch, it would be amazing. So it's such a great idea. I have a 9-month-old baby. I just realized, I take hundreds of pictures of her. But that's because I want to have these memories and to explain to her during her childhood how it was, because I didn't get that opportunity with my mother.
Zach, let's push this on this way. And afterwards, Jerry's going to talk for the next section. Let's go this way. What is your reaction to the Living Legacy Memorial? What kind of thoughts and feelings did you have as I was presenting that?
My reaction is the realization that I really don't know my family and the history of my family. I don't speak to my father, and that side of the family I really don't know. So it's interesting that there's a lot of emptiness in that respect of not knowing. So I'm hoping that I can leave something for my children and their children. When you realize it that way, you don't really put it in perspective, but when you're saying it, it's important.
Extremely. I don't know if that'll reach, but I want to get your reaction to the Living Legacy Memorial.
I think it's great. I just had somebody recently, about 4 years ago, pass, my father-in-law, and he was a great man. We made a video for him with music to remember him. When I say he was a great man, everybody that knows him in the family is always saying, like you said, memories, words of wisdom. And like you said, words are power, and what a treasure it would be. We do watch the video every so often, his birthday, Christmas, but what a treat it would be for us to actually hear what he has to say. And he'll be with us, and his words will always, his legacy it continues, but this would make it more so. So I would love to implement this in my family.
Implement the Living Legacy Memorial. Good. Well, I want to take this opportunity to say with you, to you and with you, I want to tell you what a true pleasure, privilege, and honor it is to share this with you, to be on this journey with you and share this about the Living Legacy Memorial. Thank you.